This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Welcome to the, June meeting. And I'm just wanted to mention really quickly, everyone, if you don't have a lot of updates, just move quickly. I would love it if we could get to, we've been putting off a few discussions, and the more time we can get to the end, we can actually flesh out some of those other topics. But so just move quickly and thoughtfully, as best makes sense. Any comments before we get started? Oh, Mark, yeah.
Yeah. Google Meet is so much fun. Just wanted to be sure that I mentioned that we need a replacement hose for the watershed. The one up there is leaking badly, and I don't know that it's worth trying to repair. I certainly don't have the time or energy.
I'll get to that when I talk, Mark.
Okay, great.
You're gonna.
I am responsible for that.
Oh,
Oh no.
you did it with the lawnmower. Is that what happened?
I did indeed.
Good job.
I can't believe that doesn't happen more often. Honestly,
I'm impressed. Hi, Stephen. I'm impressed. Okay, but
okay, cool,
a replacement would be about $60.
I can fix it. I can fix it.
Okay, I'm counting on you.
Frank has to fix it. It's a pride thing right now.
Pride is good.
Any other comments before we get started? All right, so I'd love to accept last month's minutes. I make a motion to accept the minutes for the May meeting. Does anyone second the motion?
Second.
A second.
Third, fourth, fifth.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fabulous. Great. Whoops. Okay, great. So we'll just start with treasurer's report then.
Okay, everybody should have a copy of it. We're doing fine. When it comes to Easthampton feed, that bill hasn't come in yet officially, so I haven't included that other than as a pending expense for about, what was that, $85. That was for mainly topsoil and some peat moss for the grow bags, the donation garden grow bags, thanks to Eric. The only thing I would be concerned about right now is we're getting a little low in Obashan, and we're trying to get to where we are doing as much as possible locally. So rather than going to Tractor Supply, I'd like to at least try to go to Obashan and Easthampton. I would ask that we add $200 to our purchase order with Obashan. I believe that is also where Mark would get a new hose. So we should have some more money in the Obashan purchase order. The other thing I would like to do is close out the Tractor Supply purchase order and return the $30.07 that we had committed there back to our reserve fund. So those are two different things. Vote on them separately, and that's my report, unless somebody has questions.
So Ted, we're in the black. It looks like that's good news,
We
right?
we are in the black. Again, the budget that I have there, it will basically show expenditures of. We try to go to a budget that doesn't spend any more than we're taking in. So right now we're on track to do that. And we'll just have to see how the season goes. We still have to, I guess, get some more wood from Flurry Lumber for the pollinator garden, raised beds. So that hasn't come in, but we do have money budgeted for that. I don't see any other major costs coming up.
Can I ask? I
Yes.
just noticed the irrigation services. It's budgeted for 250. But the actual cost, do we not know? It doesn't cost them to turn it off. Is it just, or to turn? Sorry, it only costs to turn it off, not to turn it on.
No, we got a bill for both.
Okay. So it will be probably 250. That's like probably like a good guess.
Yeah, I mean, it seems so over the last couple of years, the price has jumped a little bit. But,
Yeah.
So if it's not 250, it would be, I'm just putting that down as my best estimate of what they would, I would expect them to charge. We've already gotten, I think the first bill was for 150.
Okay.
Sometimes for turning it off, they don't charge quite as much, but we'll have to see how that goes. But we are in good shape as far as that goes.
I guess I'm looking to see like, yeah, room in the budget for, if we would need like, I'll be talking about it later with the compost, project. Like, is there room in the budget to put, some money into that? And I guess we'll see how much, Karen's thinking for the raised beds, and we can see what it looks like then for other material.
Yeah. Budget can always be adjusted, or I like to try to stay within a budget when we have
Yeah.
one, but expenses come up. I didn't expect to have to spend as much to get the mowers and everything back in shape, but things cost money, and we definitely need those mowers and weed whackers. So
Great. Let's
can you vote on adding the $200 to the Obashan purchase order?
I move to what is it? Move the $200 from Tractor Supply to Obashan.
No, from our reserve fund to the Obashan.
Great. From the reserve fund to Obashan, I move to do that.
A second.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, and then the second request was just to cancel out the Tractor Supply purchase order and return the $30.07 to the reserve fund.
So moved.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Great.
Aye.
How exciting. Buy Tractor Supply.
Goodbye, Tractor Supply.
Until we need hoses again.
No, I think we got the last hoses at Obashan, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Mark did.
yeah, the yellow ones. The Flexilis came from Tractor Supply. Aubuchon's doesn't sell Flexilla. But they sell a similar
great.
product, which is the yellow one.
Should we also vote just to approve the latest budget report? For
I don't know if that really has to be approved. That's just for information purposes to see where we are.
okay, great. That sounds good to me. Okay, cool. Fabulous. Anything else, Ted?
Nothing for me.
Great. All right, so let's go to operations.
Okay. So I'm gonna need an email to go out. I can type it up or whatever. Actually, I have a few things that I want to send out. It'll just be bullets, but I don't have a sense of a mowing crew yet, so I need to get names and then try and get all that organized, because it's like we should mow again now, and after I got a lot of stuff knocked down, there's still a bunch of areas that need to be mowed. And even behind the larger compost piles over where the shed is, behind there, I mowed some of that. But there are bushes growing out from the abandoned orchard that we need to cut back. Maybe we can do that one day maybe we'll have a work party or something to do that. I'm kind of making a list of stuff.
Okay, I am trying to organize a work day for June. I'm just I realize it can't be this Saturday because it's like cultural chaos and
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do anything that soon anyway.
okay, so pushing it to be this Sunday wouldn't work.
No, I think it's better to give people a week or a couple of weeks to plan for it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'd be too soon to do it this week. That's only like what, 2 or 3 days. So yeah, that wouldn't work.
I think I'm anxious about all the projects, but it is better to have people plan. So.
Yeah, that stuff that I mentioned, just pruning that stuff back. I mean, that's not urgent, but it should happen because the bushes are kind of hanging over, and it just makes more cover for rabbits. And one of the biggest rabbits I've seen in a long time is living down in that corner now.
Bring your
big rabbit.
Bring your dog, Frank.
Yeah, it's a big rabbit. I was like, damn, man, we got a fox or a rabbit.
It's crazy.
Yes, and I did cut the hose by accident. One thing that that will be in my bullets to go out in the email is when people roll the hoses up, they need to roll them up so that they are not touching the ground at all, because you can't. That's why I thought I had was far enough away from the hose, and obviously I wasn't. And so I cut that hose, but I can just cut the centerpiece out where it's cut, and then I've got a hose splice. I can splice it and fix it. That's not a problem.
Great.
But yeah, the hoses need to be rolled up high enough to where they're not touching the ground, just for the mowers and for the weed whackers. Also, there is if anybody, I'll find, I found a picture online, but there's a side chute that goes on the mower that I usually have kind of placed on the mower. I cannot find it. And I really need to have that, because mulching with that mower it makes mowing really slow and arduous. There's a bigger chute. It's like a big tube, but that's not what I'm talking about. This thing goes down, attaches down low, where there's kind of an exhaust that goes out on the side. And it seems to have vanished. And I've looked in the shed 3 different times in 3 different frames of mind, and I can't find it. So if anyone sees it, let me know.
How expensive?
Yeah.
I looked it up online. It's like $30 to get another one. I mean, we could do that with petty cash or something if we had to.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't get a response in a week or so, I think you ought to just
because
buy a new one.
It's a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
Do you think it would have gotten like when they worked on it, they would have taken it
No,
off?
I went up there and asked them, and I would have seen it. I would not have brought it up there, but I look, I double check everything.
Yeah.
And I went up and asked Steve, and he said no. He says because if there's a side chute attached, they have to take it off. And he's like, anything that comes with the mower, he's like, I zip tie it to the mower when I get it. So he's like, there wasn't anything. I'm like, yeah, I just had to check to make sure. Yeah, that was after I exhausted everything else. I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's where it was, but nope. If you go up there are these beautiful multi-floor rose bushes blooming right now. So I'm gonna mark them while they're blooming because we need to get rid of them. That's another. It's not urgent, but we need to get them out because they're gonna seed and we dug one out on the opening day down between A11 and A12. So, but Mark chopped down part of another one, but we want to make sure that we just get rid of them. And there's one at the corner of the compost bin up by the shed as well that needs to, it's got to go to, and that one's going to be fun. And then that leads me to the compost bins. That's another bullet point to send out. If people are throwing weeds in the bins, a lot of people are just stopping at the edge and throwing them at the edge. And like this thing is growing like the old movie, The Blob. So we need to try, we really need to throw the weeds like deep into the compost bin, the compost area. Again,
Well, I'll touch on that a little bit more when we get to compost operations.
Okay, all right.
And I have a few questions, I guess, for y'all about what to do. But yeah,
I just want to.
And then
I'm
go
taking
ahead,
notes
Mark.
on what you're saying here, and I'm going to include it in the meeting notes.
Okay, Margie. All right, thank you. And then one other thing, I am going to have to inspect
Yes.
plots now because because they were supposed to. There has to be some kind of work on them by after Memorial Day, and there's still some that don't look like they've been touched. So I'll do that inspection. Probably not tomorrow. Probably be Saturday. And then inform people. And man, I gotta say too, if you have mint in your plot, we're not supposed to have it. Get rid of it because it's spreading over there where the thistle plots are. And there's another plot B2 that is getting completely taken over by it, and it's going into the corridor now. So we're not.
I'm wondering, has anyone heard? I'm trying to remember who. It's a really nice person who's in that plot, and I haven't seen her
That's
once.
Facha, and I haven't seen Facha at all.
Yeah.
You mean Facha? I saw her the other day.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
She was out there working. She's working hard, and she gets frustrated because she wants to use the trimmer, and it's the last few times I've been there, someone else was using it.
Oh no.
But she's trying.
Well, I'm glad you saw her. I was getting worried because I hadn't seen her.
Well, she's got a nice mint garden.
She does. Yeah. But maybe we'll just.
But that's all I got because I know just for the sake of time we want to move on.
Okay.
Instead of having a car wash, maybe we can have a mint julep sale.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an idea.
True. That's true.
We'll have to get a liquor license, don't we? You know, anybody got connections in Boston?
Virgin tulips. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
All right. Great. Well, thank you, operations. Now outreach.
Okay, so A11 and D9 are still open, and Autumn, who was in C6, Mark, you had asked about whether she's back, but she's the one who was injured and she can't garden her plot this season, but she would love to keep it for next season. But the weeds are growing, so I'm thinking of maybe just putting out to the community that we need help weeding these 3 open plots. And
Can
there's
I
people-
have you list them again? It's A11, B9,
D-
or B9.
D9,
It's D
D9.
as in David, right?
yes.
Great. And
Okay.
then
Auto C6.
C6 is the one to help get it stable for next season.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with holding it for next season since we don't have anyone on the waiting list.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem. We could try and chip in and help out.
I wonder, I mean, that would
Yeah,
be
and
another workday thing and we could maybe cover it with, I bought a bunch of, we've got some seeds that we could crop it with. I have a bunch of extras. We could put clover in it or something to help suppress the weeds.
Plant the whole thing in carrots.
Yeah.
There's a
Or mint. No.
You see my new
Squash.
house plant in back of me? Anybody know what it is?
It's ragweed, right?
Yes, it's a giant
What is
ragweed,
it?
and it means watch out. It can get that big. No, I'm kidding. That's I just found the photo in on my computer and decided it might be a cool background. So I like
You
it on
are the champion of the ragweed prevention group. So.
not in the garden, please. Ragweed really makes people like me suffer. I don't know if anybody else here has allergies, but when it's in bloom, man, it's hard to be there if there's ragweed out there. I also want to say something about I don't know what plot it is, but it's next to your plot, Frank, and my son's plot. It's where Pedro has half and Nina has half.
Oh yeah, D7, right?
Yeah, it is D7, right.
The cardboard farm.
And we have to let people know that it's not okay to just flop cardboard on top of weeds.
Yeah.
The cardboard just finds its way, and it's not even weighted down with anything. The weeds just find their way out from the cardboard and start reaching for the sun.
Well, it becomes a rodent hotel too.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to include that in the notes, and anyone who has cardboard down without weeding has to still be sure to pull the weeds.
Yeah, that's a good thing to add.
And even maybe emphasize, like, I know that, I think Pedro and Emily are new gardeners, so maybe they just don't know if it's on the part they're using. Maybe we can.
It's not on their part.
Their part is beautiful. It's clean and nice. It's only on the other half.
Oh, okay.
And Nina Gordon Hurst, and it looks like all she's done is come and put cardboard down on top of tall weeds.
Okay.
I just pulled some out the other day, but
maybe Frank is part of your.
Yes, well, I'll address that in the inspection.
Cool.
Yeah, that would be great. I don't think I have anything else.
Eric, do you have anything?
Nothing to report.
I have a small update in that I was talking to I'm blanking on Laura's last name. Frank, you know her last name.
Oh, Laura
from
Fisher.
Yes, Fisher.
Yeah.
She told me that there's an Instagram account for the garden, and we're going to meet up next week to transfer that, like, password and stuff. And I think that'll be a really good way to find more prospective gardeners to probably fill those other 2 plots. Eric, I was thinking if I am on Instagram a lot, so I might run it, but if I do end up being like, this is silly, I don't know if you'd be interested in running it also.
Yeah, I can hook it up to the Facebook, so if something gets posted one place, that'll get posted.
Okay, great. Well, let's do that then. That's great. Okay, so once I get the information, I'll email you and we'll coordinate that. Great. I think that's going to be huge for at least just, spreading things around a little bit more. And I also talked to her about, there is, I had done a little work on a website, but we don't have a domain. But then I've been hearing like some rumors that there actually was a domain name, and then, but somebody else was just like running it and paying for it on their own, like personal dime. And then, so I'm trying to figure out that aspects of if there's a website, and then linking that to the Facebook, and maybe getting something like that going also. Great. Any other any other outreach comments or anything? Great. Oh, did anybody?
I was just gonna add that I just joined this Facebook group called like the 413 plant swap or something.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people post things about like free plants, but also just like tools and things. And but maybe for like really desperate or really want people to take these empty plots, like it could be worth, I could post something there just saying like in Easthampton, we have, I don't remember how many plots, 3 plots or something. If that's would be helpful. I don't know if we're really searching for someone.
That's a great idea. Totally. Yeah.
Okay. We would just need to be clear that they should be an Easthampton resident.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And it's 25 a year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Great idea. Perfect. Thanks, John. Okay. Great. Well, now let's touch base on path maintenance.
I haven't done any aside from walking up some of the paths and picking some of the thistle that's overgrowing. I think that in the next month I'm going to do let's see, the path that would be between 2 and 3. Now that it's been marked off, I'm gonna do that one at least, but otherwise just start doing them whichever ones need it most and make my way through the paths over the course of the year.
Would it be helpful to make sure and like coordinate with you and Frank for the next workday to make sure you both can be there and help like run like those 2 projects, or are you fine doing that independently?
Weekends are really difficult for me to be around.
Yeah.
So I can't make it to a lot of the work days. But if anybody has any questions, I mean, I could be around on a weekday if people wanted to help, or if somebody else was on the pathing committee, if we wanted to talk about getting it done. I don't know. I can make myself accessible.
Because we've done work days on Thursdays before too.
I was hoping to maybe do an evening one for this next time.
Yeah.
So we can talk a little bit more about this later also, but I'll do like a when is good with everyone and see like what makes, how many people can come to certain dates and coordinate it maybe that way, based on certain projects.
It looks like with the pipes that have been laid down, most of the paths are still on track. One of them looks a little crooked, but we'll make do.
Yeah, I don't even really, it's just getting a sense of what is perfectly straight was interesting to see, like, oh shoot, things are running at an angle.
If I can get on a soapbox for a moment, I did notice that people were throwing garbage bags full of weeds and leaving them in the path for a couple days. I was trying to get a wheelbarrow down to my plot, and I couldn't go down certain paths because they were blocked off. Yeah. So
I'll put that in the notes.
I mean, I don't think that we need to stress paths need to be accessible.
Bags are gone.
They're gone?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
But it's a good thing to send out to the community. Just keep the paths clear.
Yeah.
I think that's a good reminder.
I also, somebody mentioned at the opening workday about us maybe having some like bags in the shed so that when people are weeding the thistle, they have something to put them in and immediately remove it. Because I think sometimes people get out there and don't like plan to discover some of that stuff, and then we want to get it out of the garden. So having maybe like marked like thistle bags in there and say don't leave them in the path. Might be something I'll grab.
I can ask
Great.
if anyone wants to donate some large trash or leaf bags.
That's true. Somebody mentioned contractor bags. I don't know if those are what that is, but if that's just a
There's some in there,
bigger
but I
bag.
wouldn't want to use those for just a handful of thistle, you know.
Cool. All right. So yeah, if some garbage, that would be great. If somebody wanted to just donate a box, that'd be awesome.
Contractor bags are usually bigger and thick,
Oh, okay.
so they're good for thistle because you don't have to worry about the thistle ripping through the bag. But yeah, they're much larger. So if you're only doing a handful of thistle, it would be overkill. But if you're doing an entire plot's worth, then it would make sense.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Norman, did you raise your hand? Your volume is off. Your little microphone. It should be, I'm trying to think where let's see. It should just be on the bottom and like the center. There you go.
There it is.
Is it appropriate to throw thistle in the garbage at our houses?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I do.
Okay.
Or if you have a
Or you could steam it and put some garlic and
Don't
Boy
do this.
on it.
I'm nervous we're gonna find out it's like botulism in it or something really scary.
or you can, if I have a little forest in back of my house and dry out the roots, throw it in the forest.
There's thistle in different types of homeopathic
That's right.
concoctions.
There you go.
It's true.
I don't know what kind of thistle.
All right. Awesome. So that's it for path maintenance, it sounds like. And I'll just update with the donation garden. I bought a bunch of dirt and peat moss to fill the raised beds with in combination with the compost. I'm going to work on getting, there's 7 people signed up to use the bags. Most people are going to want to put them in the thistle plots, which is great. I need to write a recipe and instructions about how to soak the peat moss to hydrate it before mixing it in. But I'm correct in the grow bags themselves are just in the shed right now. Correct?
Yep.
Okay, great. I'll just make sure there's a sign on those. And Laura Fisher has a bunch of tomato plants to donate to us. And I was going to reach out to the people who are, with the donation grow bags, if they want to grow tomatoes, like we already have these plants, so you could just throw them in. But also, I don't know, Margie, if there's a way to like put in bold the top, like to let me know by tonight if anyone's interested in receiving some tomato plants, so I can get maybe a rough number about like how many, if they were donated, we could actually like use in the garden. And I'll try to make sure that I email all the donation garden people also.
Wait, I'm not clear. So include in the notes.
Yeah, just maybe like bold or something that like if anyone wants some free tomato plants, we have a farmer who's donating, like has like a crazy amount.
But you wanted
What was that?
You wanted to go out tonight, and you requesting an immediate response tonight?
I would love it if people could get back to me like by like tomorrow, so that I can get back to her with a rough amount of like how many people are interested in, like, I don't want her to give us like 50 plants, and not, and just have them like die, like it would be good to be able to be like, oh yeah, there are like enough people interested, and have so many, just to help me know how much we can take on. That makes sense.
Yeah, what about the donation?
And I'm going to reach out to those folks tonight as well. Yeah. Great. So that's the updates on that. And I think it's going to go great. And then next, Karen with the pollinator garden.
So I'm transferring extra perennials from my house over to the garden. I find that works better. Last year I put in I had a bunch of great seedlings, but they were only about 8 inches high and they really didn't do well over the winter. So more established plants do better. And I want to talk about that a little later. If anybody wants to do their volunteer hours by helping me put cardboard down and wood chips on the pathways there, that would be welcome. If you could put a note in about that. It would be good for us to think about building the 3 raised beds for the other side of the garden and get those filled with dirt. I picked up some seed to cover it, put a cover crop on for this summer, and then in the fall we can just, what I do is weed whack it down to the roots and cover it with newspaper and mulch, and by the next summer everything is good. You can just plant right through it. What it would be nice is if we could in the next year in 2025 actually get some decent perennials to put in there and start filling out those beds in the next summer.
So sorry, this fall or this fall plant some perennials?
No, no, we can find some next spring.
Okay.
So I'm gonna, put cover crop in this summer and those 3 new beds. Let them be, enriching the soil. Cover that over the winter, and then next spring start putting in some interesting perennials, and that ground underneath will be ready to start taking them.
Fabulous. That'll be some maybe good information for next year's budget. That makes sense. And maybe if you have time passively to say like, it'd be cool if like the imaginary number was so many dollars for that. But we wouldn't need that till closer to next year. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Ted, are we okay about getting the wood and getting some more dirt from the feed store to get these 3 beds ready for this summer?
Well, I think we budgeted for the wood, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had some more money available for the soil. I'm not sure if you're getting any compost.
I got compost. Some of it I'm going to be using to, bulk up for the perennials I'm putting in now. And I think I'm going to be mainly counting on the cover crop for the 3 new beds. So have a cover crop on that over the summer, and that'll be helping that soil, and that'll be adding to that bulk. And the mulch over the winter, that breaks down. So by the summer after, not this summer, but the summer after, all of that stuff will be breaking down and it'll be ready to put some plants in.
Okay, let's see.
Stephen, you can go ahead.
Yeah, we,
turns out I have an extra box. It's like only 6 inches deep, and it's got some dirt along the edge. It's in it can last for a few years, but not a lot. I'm happy to donate it,
Okay,
Karen, if you think it
what
works.
are the other dimensions on it?
Boy, it's probably like um 3 feet by 20 something.
3 feet by 20?
It's somewhat yeah, it's 3 to 4 feet, so it's somewhat narrow, but it's like at least 16 feet long, I think.
And how we
Oh,
would,
I
is
I
it-
can I can measure it out and
okay, and that's in your plot now?
no, I bring it back. I thought I was going to need it, so I removed it, but I don't.
You moved a 16-foot raised bed out of the garden?
Well, however long it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, well,
Maybe
I'll
not
wait,
16. I'm guesstimating. I don't. It's not in front of me, so.
okay. I'll wait to hear from you about what size it is.
Sure.
Okay, and I mean, even with the 3 beds that we will be putting in, there's a small space in the center on each side, and I had been thinking that it would be nice to put in like a small herb garden in that small space. But you know,
Oh, okay.
that's down the road. Right now, it would be good just to get the second half done with the 3 proper raised beds and start getting that, you know, get the dirt in there and get the cover crop on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I suspect it's
That's
probably
great.
shorter than the 16. It's probably like, I don't know, 10 to 12, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll wait to hear from you.
I'll send you the measurements.
Okay, thank you.
Great. That sounds awesome. All around. Wonderful stuff.
So, Ted, I just want to mention, I think last year, the soil from the feed store was like $107. Is that going to be okay?
right now it's not, because there was a just under $90 purchase of soil and peat moss for the donation garden. And so that's cutting into what our, let's see, just trying to look at how much we have at Easthampton Feed. We have about $100. It's running close. Perhaps I could recommend that we add another $100 to Easthampton Feed if we're going to spend another $100 on soil for the pollinator garden.
That makes sense. And then
Uh,
maybe with whatever soil purchases come up next, we'll just really need to be serious about and make sure like maybe we shouldn't do it this year, you know, like that if, you know, and be just accountable to the budget in that respect.
Well, I think we need to get moving on it'll be the second year that we've done. Last year we did half. This year we should do half.
Yeah, yeah.
On pollinator garden, get it moving. And I just want to, Easthampton Feed's always very good to us. So I think we should add money in there just to make sure that we're covered so that our bill does not exceed what we have in the purchase order. So I'm going to ask that somebody move. We add another $100 to the.
I move.
I second.
I want to say something before we vote. What are we
Okay.
What are we doing with the rest of the compost that's still there in the pile?
I think it's
Well, I
accounted
can,
for Karen and the compost and the donation bags.
It's been all used up. I mean, it's all accounted for. Everybody bought some.
The
Okay.
last meeting I
So if
have
they
written
haven't,
down,
if they haven't picked up their share, then that's on them.
but last meeting I've written down that there was an excess of a half a cubic yard for the community garden itself to use between Karen and I.
I'm not sure I agree with that, but we can explain that to me. It seemed we allotted an extra yard for people who wanted to purchase, who hadn't purchased initially. But
Yes.
beyond that, the reserved money, the reserved compost was for donation and pollinator, and that was it. There was no additional beyond that.
Right, that's
Half
what I just
yard
said.
each. Okay, then we're in agreement.
Yeah. So there
do
is
we need
what
to buy
half yard
more?
is left is for the pollinator and the donation project.
Correct.
So why don't we use up what we have before we go buy more then?
I think
More.
well, the difference is that what we fill the beds with is soil. And what's left over there is compost.
Mm-hmm.
So Karen, did you take it to your quarter yard for the pollinator? Did you already take that?
I took a bunch of it and it's sitting covered on the other side. And that's what I'll be using to boost the perennials that I stick in from the house.
Yeah. So if you've already taken it from the pile, then it's not liable to disappear then. That's the important thing. And
Yeah.
and then the remaining quarter yard, as Sarah pointed out, would be for the donation garden folks to fill the grow bags.
Yeah. And then anybody, I guess, who hasn't gathered their last bucket or so.
And
Right.
Frank, there wouldn't be enough compost there to fill the, even come close to filling 3 new raised beds.
No,
No.
not this year.
Okay.
I am wondering, I think it'll work out naturally that if by the time you guys work on the beds and get those set up, I imagine if I bought too much topsoil, we would know, and you guys could use like, whatever topsoil isn't used for the donation bags also. Because I imagine first you're gonna spend the monies on the wood, build those, and then spend money on filling them with the dirt. So we'll probably in that timeline be able to be like, oh, I have a bag or something.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Are you guys feeling all set on the wood and getting those built? Do you also want me to make sure that's a part of the next work day or anything?
I think we should I'll work it out with you, Karen.
Okay.
Yes, that would be
I'll help
fine.
you out.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I'll help you out with that.
Yeah.
Did we vote it, the $100 for extra $100?
Oh yeah, we need to start again. Yes, you're right. I move to move $200 into the feed store account.
$100.
$100.
Yeah.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great.
Oop, I froze them.
Awesome. Well,
It was moved to one voted on.
great. Anything else, Karen?
No, that would be it. Just if you
All right.
just add if somebody wants to do their hours by helping with mulching, that would be great.
With
I
mulching.
got that on the list.
Okay, great. So volunteer hour reports, I'm realizing, so since last meeting, we talked about Deb last year had gone through all of the physical forms submitted to the city to see what work volunteer committees folks had signed up for. Deb is not able to do that again this year. So I'm going to send out a Google form to the email list and have everyone and have it like basically be a match to that portion of the application and have people just respond to the form, which committees they're interested in, and then get those emails sent to Frank for mowing, Eric for the paths, and Karen for the pollinator garden. So that way we can get that a little bit more organized, and maybe in the fall or next spring when we look at the application again, we can just take that signing up part off of there and just edit that maybe, since it seems like the physical form isn't something that useful to us once it's been given to the city, because it's hard to look at again. So I'll try to send a Google form out soon.
Sarah, I can make copies. I have copies of the applications. I can make copies of the front page with the name and their requested.
If that's just as fast and you can
I
get
gave them
those
to
to
Deb
me and
last year.
well, okay, great. So if you want to give them to me this year, because Deb isn't feeling like that's something she can do this year, I'll get that. Just get some names to everyone so we can get going on these projects. That would be
Okay.
awesome. Cool. All right. So I
I'll
won't
do
do
it
the
next
form.
there, so.
Okay, great. But do you want to email them to me, or is it easier to just drop off physical copies?
I'll drop off physical copies.
great.
It'll give you the whole.
And get a
Oh, that's
cinnamon
it.
bun.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yum.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, and then Deb gave me an updated, we've got some people already noting down their volunteer hours, so that system's working great. Next, are any other questions about volunteer hours right now? Great. So next is compost operations. I'm going to try to I had a meeting with my friend who's starting her compost consulting business, and she's donating her time to us as like an example project that she can use to learn from, and also then to use on her resume and things. And I am just trying to figure out if there's a way to share a picture, or if I have to try to make this a document. I'll just describe it and then email it to you guys after the meeting. But her plan for, after looking at how much compost we produce and looking at our current situation, would be, her format is ideally there would be monthly work days, which we kind of already started to do, and we would ideally have a coordinator for this. But throughout the month, everyone would just put their compost into a pile that's marked the working pile, and there's this type of wire that I'm blanking on the name of, that's 3 feet tall, that you can clip into a cylinder shape. So we would clip it, and people would fill compost throughout the month in there. On the work day, that would be opened and turned into the second cylinder. And that, gosh, that cylinder, oh my God, where is called the cook pile. And eventually by the 3rd month, the cook pile would move to the cool pile. And then by the 4th month, we would have the curing pile. And then by the 5th month, it would move, and that would be our more active compost pile. And so what would happen is that all the general gardeners would need to worry about is there's a functional, during the month, put your debris in this small cylinder, and then on the work days we do all the turning. And we probably wouldn't produce compost like in mass quantity this year, but once it's established, we'd be able to have like a large amount of compost to be top dressing our soil with by next year, and we'd be able to use it every month. It would require making sure we have some tools for cutting up like large weeds smaller. One concern that she had is that our garden doesn't produce a lot of like wet, you know, in the ratio of like creating like a good compost operation. You need more greens, and most of what we have is a lot of browns. So it might be worth, when we get to that stage, talking to you, Frank, about if there is a way to collect some of the grass, because that would be huge to getting it really hot. And if we have to open it up to like, you know, this month we need people to try to bring back like their cooking produce or like, or scraps or something, like, if you know, and we would need to approach that probably with the coordinator to see like how's our moisture level, like what do we need to do to our recipe. So the big issue with getting this going right now is having to have some funds to buy the wire to set up these cylinders, and to contact a farmer to basically push the current compost operation like completely to the side, because it's after she looked at it, she just was like, there's no real way to, the way that one was constructed, those the 3 bins weren't made in such a way that turning was very possible, and they weren't the right size to help stimulate a lot of like hot you know, cooking of the compost. So her suggestion was just to take those apart, see if we can use the materials, and push all of the debris to the side. And then once our compost operation really gets going and cooking, we could start maybe pulling in some of that old material to help get rid of it, or to help feed our current operation. Frank, in the past, I know you had someone in mind who could, maybe a farmer who had a tractor who could help us push that over, or
Yeah, I got somebody in mind. Yeah.
okay.
Russell.
If you talk to him and just let me know what he says,
Sure.
my friend Margot would love to do like have a work day with us, like on our, you know, like one of our monthly work days, to get this going and show people like, okay, here's it all set up, like here's how we're going to do it, and just help walk us through it in the physical space. She did bring up that once that stuff is pushed to the side, we maybe want to put underneath, the only good use for landscaping cloth ever is to put some landscaping cloth underneath, so that way it helps kind of separate the grass and things from needing to be weed whacked around each of the compost like cylinder operations. So that way it wouldn't be like a new annoying weed whacking task. So that would also be part of the budget, is maybe getting, you know, a roll of that.
I have some I can donate.
Oh, okay, amazing. All right, landscaping cloth. And I'm gonna get a hard number from her about how much this wire that she was thinking of costs.
Not only how much,
Talking and writing doesn't work. I just wrote the wrong thing down.
Where would we buy it?
She said like her ultimate conclusion was that it was pretty easy to get, which is why it's the material that she thought would be easiest for us. So I think I'm meeting with her again on Monday. and she's going to give me a proper like printout of her chart and her like proposal. It's a pretty thick packet with like very thorough information about the recipe and everything. But I'll make sure what's in there is also like then how much what this material is, how much it costs, and I can send that to you. And then if it doesn't work, talk to her about what her other ideas would be if it's like too expensive. And I'll emphasize that hopefully, I would imagine we could order it from the hardware store. They have a lot of stuff over there. Okay. Great. Any questions about that? Cool. Hopefully we would get some coordinators for these projects. Feel like I'm a little overwhelmed with doing the donation, accidentally running the donation grow bags and now the compost. And I have not been able to start weeding the parking garden beds at all. And I haven't really had time to weed my own garden. So I'm hoping maybe we can touch base about me passing some of this off would be huge. But for now, yeah, Stephen.
I agree that is huge. Before we get too far into this year, okay? This is definitely something that has to be straightened out. Speaking of the donation garden, or donating, I should say, I don't know where people are at. Are we getting close to, I mean, it's early. Are we getting close to bringing things to the community? Are there things to bring? Because I don't
think so. I mean, I don't have anything in my plot yet. I don't know. Do other folks?
No, it's pretty early.
It's early, but I just want to make sure that I'm at least being aware of.
How about if
I guess if Margie, what were you gonna say, Mark?
I was saying, as people begin to have some production and feel like they can donate, maybe they should contact Stephen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just so he can be aware that, stuff is on the way, and then we can repeat the message about putting stuff in the coolers on Monday morning? Is that, or?
Yeah, I'm saying, I think people need to have a, date and time certain. So typically Monday by 8. I mean, the reality is that can be delivered the beginning part of the week to the garden because they want it on Wednesdays too, which is a typical day. But I want people to know that that's when it should be in.
Great.
Margie, I'm sure you'll put something of this in the notes.
Just donate produce for the Easthampton Community Center by 8 a.m. Mondays?
Yep.
Up in the cooler by the shed?
Yep.
Okay.
And maybe would it be helpful for people to contact you directly, Stephen, to say they put something in?
I think it's great because if they say, I haven't harvested something, but I know that, I've got, lettuce in my plot. I mean, I'll go over and I'll harvest it.
Great.
That way it's nice and fresh. I mean, I almost prefer that.
Mm-hmm.
Because as an example, lettuce wilts, and if they put it in Saturday, I'm collecting it Monday. Not as good as me harvesting it.
Not as desirable.
Okay, great, awesome. Well, thank you, Stephen. That's exciting to get that going. I wasn't even thinking about it yet, but hopefully, I bet somebody has too many radishes. It's going to be my guess. Would be the main crop right now.
I have to leave the meeting, so I just.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right. Well, no, that's all right.
I have about 10 more minutes as well.
I love this. I love that we're setting some good boundaries. What was that, Margie?
I have 15 minutes.
All right. Great. Well, I'm just going to move on really quick then to the continuing business. Does anyone have any comments before I do that? Yeah, Mark.
Well, it's probably not important for this meeting, but at some point on the agenda is all the junk behind the shed. I think that's a
Yeah.
long-term project, but I think we should make some kind of plans and even if I think we'd even talked about asking the city if they would bring a truck by and we could take it to the dump or wherever it goes.
Somebody cleaned up next to the shed.
Yeah, Caitlin did.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yep,
Kayla and John are doing everything
Yeah,
at the
they
garden.
did a lot.
she's a hard worker.
And back of the shed is really hard right now because it's so overgrown.
Yep.
Well, it might be worth it is. I did forget. I need to reach out to the city because I imagine, they're working on the invasives in that area. I wonder if there's like it's a borderline, like, can they help us? They have people out there once in a while trying to work on that area. So maybe that would be mutually helpful.
Well, maybe they'd be willing to help. I mean, I don't want to assume.
Yeah.
But you never know. Ask. Oh, it's good to ask.
Definitely. And the city's just so great with us in general. I'm sure
Right.
they probably would.
Right.
I didn't put this on the agenda, but I forgot to mention it with the compost is I also had the realization if we can't push the compost all the way into the back, we could just put our new compost operation on top of the thistle beds that we have covered in wood chips and are dead right now. And that could be our new compost operation. What was that?
Smother the thistle.
Yes, unless
Smother it.
and I do think this is kind of opening it up for a bigger discussion, so we can wait until next meeting. But the people who've been working on the thistle plots a lot kind of assessed that they felt if they were just being worked at this point, that would probably do a better job keeping the thistle down than leaving them dormant anymore. But since we don't have a wait list and we're struggling to get interested gardeners, I'm hesitant to open them up and just let them not be worked and then become thistled again. Do people want to talk about this now, or does it feel too big?
Too big for now.
Okay. All right. Well, think about it. Oh, sorry, Frank.
No, I was gonna say let's move it to the next meeting.
Okay, great. And hopefully by then we'll know more about the compost and if we can even get Russell to move that stuff. And maybe we'll be forced to use the thistle beds anyways for the compost thing. So I'm gonna push again. Well, maybe next meeting I'll prioritize talking about the banned plants, especially after you do your inspection. The workday, I'm gonna just send a when is good to you all for a couple Thursdays or other days of the week, and we'll figure out when the next workday should be. The issue right now is our next meeting, I think, is on the 4th of July.
Uh-oh.
Oops.
So I don't know if this has happened before, and if so,
7 years ago.
what do we do? Are we allowed to just move it to a Wednesday?
Yeah, we need to move it.
I won't be able to make it on a Wednesday. I don't get home
Yeah.
till like 7:30 or 8.
How about
Could we
postpone
go
it
to
a
the
week?
following Thursday?
Yeah.
I mean, we
that's-
can bump it to the next Thursday.
That's
On the
right.
11th?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Okay, great.
I might not make it on the 11th either. It's my granddaughter's birthday, but you can carry on without me.
Yeah. We'll figure it
It
out.
doesn't
One
feel
way.
good when you're here, but we have to do it.
We can come to the birthday party.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I want
What?
ice cream cake.
Thistle cake, you say?
No, ice cream.
Oh,
Okay, great. So July 11th, 7 p.m., the second Thursday of the month is when we're going to meet next. That'll be great. And it's good. I feel like we're going to have a lot to talk about. It's heating up at the garden, as it were. So awesome. Any other questions, feelings to share? Great. Way to move super efficiently, guys. I love it. And I move to end the meeting.
I second it.
Second, all in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.